Thanks, Terry. Wow. We're overwhelmed and humbled truly to be here today amongst the group of speakers that we've had, amongst you guys. You know, growing up in this business, I must admit that, you know, I played personally with superheroes and stuff like that, but every day my dad would come home, I'd be asking him, so how did this guy do? How did this guy do? Our agents were our superheroes in so many ways. We're so excited to see their growth and their success as I continue to grow and desire to be a part of this organization. And I say that with all sincerity to you as well. You are superheroes in my eyes for what you do on a day-to-day basis as an agent, getting kicked around the way that we know happens all the time in the field. And I'm so thankful to be a part of today and this Leadership Summit. But to begin, I want to tell you about a story. The other day, I was driving to work on Route 80 East, from my house to my office. And on the side of the road, there's this old, decrepit-looking man standing looking at his car and kind of scratching his head. He's sitting there just kind of looking up at the car, just confused as to... Sorry. Is it on?
Yeah, it's on. Stand by.
Not my fault.
Mush.
Not my fault.
Sorry. Okay, so it looks like it was in standby. So I'm sitting there looking on the side of the road, and the man is there. He's kind of scratching his head. He's looking at the car, and you can see he's visibly distressed. He obviously, something was wrong with his car. He wasn't happy, and he's on the side of the road. So I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking, you know, I'm concerned. I got to do something for this guy. I got to help in some way. I got to go over and help him out. So I pull over. I go over to him, and I walk up to him and say, "Sir, can I help you? Can I help you? You know, what's wrong?" He says, "Oh, it's my car. It doesn't go. I step on the gas, it doesn't go. I turn the key, it doesn't go. My car just won't go. I don't understand. It won't go." I said, "Well, sir, I'm not a mechanic. I'm really not, but maybe I can help. Why don't you pop the hood?" So he pops the hood, and no, Dan, it's not Lee. It wasn't Lee, I promise you. It wasn't Lee. He was much younger. I told you, much younger. Come on, man. All right, but anyway, I guess that would have worked better if the projector was, anyway. So, you know, I sit there and I go over to him and I say, "Sir, can I help you out? You know, can I help you out? Let me look under the hood." So I go over, you know, I touched one thing and I connect it to the other and find out it's connected to the other. I touch another metal thing and it was connected to that other metal thing, and I'm like, yeah, that works. And, you know, I pretended like I knew what I was doing. Touched that big stick, I touched it and got my hands dirty, put it back in and said, "Okay, sir, you know, I think everything looks like it works. I'm pretty sure we're in a good spot. When's the last time you got oil? You know, maybe you just need some oil." He said, 3,000 miles. Every 3,000 miles, I get oil. Every 3,000 miles that's what I do. Every car I've ever had. I said, that's good. Gas. Maybe you got a bad tank of gas. You know, when's the last time you got gas? He says, "Gas? What you talking about, Sonny?" I said, "You know, gasoline. Costs about $3.07. You put it in the tank, you go over, you just go up to the gas station and say, 'Hello, sir, you know, can you fill it up?'" Oh, wait, you guys don't know about that. I'm from Jersey, I forgot. We don't fill our own gas, you know. We don't do that. We just go over and say, "Hey, fill me up." So that's what we do. But anyway, so I said, "Come on, you just go to the gasoline station." He says, No, I don't do that stuff. I will not put gasoline in my car." I said, "Huh?" He said, No, I don't do that." I said, "Well, sir, I got it. I told you I'm not a mechanic, but I figured it out. I know what's wrong with your car. Come on, we're going to take it to the gas station. We'll get some gas. We'll put it in. It'll be perfect, and we'll be able to go. Your car will go. It'll go, I promise." He says, "No, I'm not doing that. Sonny, I told you, this is my car, and I will do with my car what I want to do with my car." I said, "Okay, but that's what's wrong." He says, "No, come here." So he takes me to the back of his car, and he pops his trunk. Now, have you guys ever been to like Costco or Sam's Club or anything like that?
Sure.
And so you've seen like the 5-gallon mayonnaise jars, right? Well, I open the trunk, or he opens the trunk, and that's what I look at. About 24 jars of mayonnaise just kind of in his car. And a funnel. So I said, oh no. Exactly what you're thinking, he begins to proceed to do. He takes the jar of mayonnaise and the funnel, brings it over to the gas tank, pops it into the gas tank, and begins glug, 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 glug into the gas tank. And I think, no, sir, please stop. Don't do that. No, your car's not made to do that. Your car's not going to run on mayonnaise. It's not going to work. He says, boy, I told you this is my car. I'll do what I want with my car. Leave me alone. This is my car. I said, but your car's not going to work. It's not going to run on mayonnaise. Mr. Ford didn't make your car to run on mayonnaise. He says, boy, this is my car. I do what I want with my car. I said, okay, sir, have a good day. And slowly but surely, I walked back to my car and drove off. Now, today we're talking about accountability. And no, that's not a true story. But we're talking about accountability. We're talking about the fact that we as managers have a responsibility to hold our agents accountable. It's not a new topic. We've spoken a lot about it over the last 24 hours. But it's important that we understand that the first and most important part of accountability is that we know what makes them go. If we don't know what makes them go, we will never be able to keep an agent accountable. We as managers have to constantly be seeking it out. So we're going to talk in terms of 5 golden nuggets. 5 golden nuggets that we as managers have experienced. And no, we're not talking about nuggets. Well, my brother's kind of addicted to McDonald's. I mean, in a way, we actually, I'm driving from Jackson to here, he actually made us go to McDonald's just because he wanted to get the Monopoly pieces from a different region. I mean, like that's how addicted it is. I'm in Phoenix next week. He's like, oh, please, I'm begging me, please. Can you just go to McDonald's and just get me a couple Monopoly pieces? I mean, it's ridiculous. We're not talking about those nuggets. We're talking about the nuggets that, we've been kind of collecting for the last couple days. The first one, you gotta find out what makes them go. But hold the mayo, please, hold the mayo. Because if we force any type of mayonnaise on an agent who runs off of gasoline, it's useless. We do it, quite frankly, all the time. Top Gun contest. It's a beautiful thing. It's an awesome thing. A bunch of money put in front of an agent with an opportunity to get a huge amount of national recognition and appreciation. It's awesome, right? But at the end of the day, there's agents that are looking at it saying, it's a pallet of mayonnaise. That's not going to make me go. That's useless. That's useless. We got an agent who's been with us for over 10 years, Bob. Bob sits there. Bob has been offered so many different trips. He's been offered opportunities to go to Vienna, Aruba, Hawaii, all over the world. Bob has in the past qualified for these trips, but chooses not to go. Having a conversation with him last week, he says, Mike, I got to tell you, I'm so excited. I'm so excited because there's an opportunity to go to Lake Tahoe. I said, wow, Bob, like you've never gone on a trip in your life with us. You've qualified, but you've never gone on a single trip. He said, yeah, but my wife and I, we talked about this years ago, that we were going to go to Lake Tahoe. This is something that was a dream trip for us. We're talking about a dream trip. I want to qualify for Tahoe. We as managers, if we spent the time to find out what makes Bob go, what gasoline is in his tank, we would have been an opportunity. We would have given that opportunity a long time ago. We would have put in front of him years ago to make him step up. Because we didn't know what made him go, we just kept putting trips out like crazy. Top Gun's the same thing. It's a great thing. Most of the people in this room are animated, are excited to go and qualify for Top Gun. And that's great. I don't mean to speak negative about it at all, because some of us, myself included, are excited to have a bunch of money and recognition. But it doesn't mean that every agent is. And it's our responsibility as managers, first and foremost, when we want to keep somebody accountable, the first and foremost thing is we need to find out what makes them go. And if we're giving them mayonnaise, quit it. Our job is to give them the gasoline that's going to make them go. And if we could figure it out, we'll become a gas station for them on a day-to-day basis that they can come and fill it up with.
That was only golden nugget number 1. We got 4 more. Okay, so we know that everyone has a why. Eric mentioned it yesterday. We have to be able to sit down with every single one of our people and know what their why is. And if you keep that in the back of your mind all the time, to say, what is your why? Whether you're meeting with them, whether you're speaking with them, you're going to be able to get inside of that person a lot more. We had some conversation yesterday, actually Eric also brought it up, about goal sheets. We kind of have some samples up here if anybody wants to see them later on. There's not an abundance of these. But this is a goal sheet that we sit down with our agents every year. I know yesterday it was mentioned that Scott sits down to talk about numbers in January every year. We talk about numbers, but numbers are not everything. Yes, we ask them what it is they want to earn this year. We ask them how many weeks it is they're looking to take off. We want to find out how many leads it is they're looking to work on a weekly basis. Do they want to qualify for trips, and which trips is it that they want to qualify for? What is the best week they're going to have this year? That's a big one. People really want to strive. They only want to hit it one time. But if you set that goal and know what that big week is, you can hold it over their head over and over again. What material item do I want for myself by the end of the year? You will be shocked at the different things that people write down. Some people write very small items. Some people write very big items down. Do they want to be in management? How many people will be on their team? And number 11 is the most important thing that you will use to motivate people all year long. Name one goal this year that can make you consuming, obsessive, pulsating, and burning. You want this goal to be a fire in their belly. This goal has to be something that moves them all the time. So now we have this filled out. And what we can do is we can take this and we could say, now I'm going to hold you accountable to this. I'm going to put this right here in your file. And at the end of the year, we're going to take this out and we're going to see if you hit it. And if you do that, you might as well take this and just throw in the garbage, because it means nothing. Instead, you need to take it and you need to find a way to review it every single time you are speaking to your agent. Every time. This is an example of something that we do. This is just a little database that we created. It's just an example. You can review it any way you want. But this is an example of an agent, Shane Gore. Shane's personal goal was that he wanted to have $20,000 saved in his investment account, and his material item was to purchase a hoopty. What the hell is a hoopty? Huh. Okay, that's what he wanted. Actually, that wasn't a joke. I had no idea what a hoopty was. But Shane says that his weekly goal is to do $4,000 a week. Every week we sit down and we plug these numbers in. We plug how many leads they took in. And now we sit down with Shane on a Monday and we say, Shane, your average weekly personal production right now is $3,674.63. We need to kind of make an adjustment based on how many weeks are left in the year. Based on how many weeks are left in the year, we need to get you up to $5,904. You said that your placement rate was going to be 90%, but you're at 82.5%. We can go through all the numbers with them, and we speak with them to know what drives them. One of the things that, now this goal that is a personal one for him was to have $20,000 saved in my investment account. But we have many people that do more than just, it's not just financial. People put that they want to lose 20 pounds. People say, I want more balance in my life. People say, I want to get out of debt. We have people that say, I want to stop drinking. They, again, that fire in their belly, that thing they really want. Well, it's great to know that about Agent John Smith, so that when we're speaking to him, and John is in the bar, and you can tell that it's the third phone call in a row that you've had with John that he's been sitting there in the bar, you're more than just a manager. You are a coach, as was said yesterday. You are their mentor. You're able to say, hey, I hear where you're trying to go. Let me help you get there. You'll get them to be accountable to you that way. Everybody has a different why. There's a very short video that we kind of wanted to show you as an example of people having a why from a very young age to an older age. Everybody's got a different why. So, our golden nugget number 2. To consummate the goal, it must be planned for. You have to be able to help your agents plan whatever their goal is, or to consummate their goal. Okay, moving on to number 3. There's a couple people that I need a little assistance from here. Scotty, where's Lee? Uh-oh, Derek, he didn't like your picture of him.
Yeah, he's upset with me. Lee.
Derek, come on up.
Don't ask me to spell it.
Nope, we're not going to spell. Actually, what we're going to have you do is we're going to have you just kind of line up right here. Straight across this way. Okay.
I guess we're lost over the pie. You mad at me?
All right, we'll do it without Lee.
All right. So, guys, we're just going to ask you to just take your hand, if you could, and just raise it as high as you could, you know? And just, you're going to have the end of your finger is going to touch your thumb, if you will. Just just once, maybe twice, open and then close, just like that a couple times. There you go. That's good. That's good. Now what I'm asking you to do is, if you would, just put your elbow out, right, and put your your thumb in here, right, like this. Just do a little out more. There you go. And then I'm going to ask you to take your elbow down. Oh no. And then up again, right, and then down, and then up again. Just like that. Now, one last thing I'm just going to ask you to do, okay? If you would, just bend your knee like this, right? And then just kind of go down, keep your butt out like that, and just kind of go down, and then just like this, okay? All right, let's try that one more time. So we're going to put both hands up in the air this time. We're going to go like this. Fingers closed. Oh, there you go. Yeah. There you go. Just like that.
This is your executive team doing the chicken dance at the Leadership Summit. All right. Thanks, guys. Now, there was absolutely zero purpose to that. We just wanted to get them up here to do the chicken dance. Not true. Why did you guys do that? Because we told you to. Isn't it amazing what people will do if you just ask them to do it? It's amazing. I want everyone to just look at Adam for 1 second in the back. For no reason. You did it because I told you to do it. It's amazing what people will do if you ask them to do it. When we sit down with someone that we are hiring, we have to set expectations with them. We have to tell them what it is that we are expecting from them. If we tell them that's what we are expecting up front, no problems. We're going to get it from them. If we tell them that we're expecting to speak with them on a regular basis and hold them accountable after they're with us for 4 weeks, 6 months, a year, good luck. Now all of a sudden they feel like they did something wrong. They're stepping backwards because now you want to hold them accountable. You've got to set it up from day one. Hey, listen, we're going to put you on this fantastic program where you're going to get leads on a weekly basis. I'm going to give you leads. I'm going to give you my time on a regular basis. Now, for this, you have to report back on these leads. You have to report on how things are going. And I am going to hold you accountable, Agent John Smith. This has to be done right at the get-go. So it is amazing what people will do as long as you tell them to do it. Yesterday, I think it was Benji that said, Jesus holds us all accountable. Everybody needs to be accountable to someone. If we know that we have to be accountable to our agents the same way that they are accountable to us, we are going to be better coaches. If we tell our agents, I am going to speak to you at 3 o'clock every day, and we're going to spend about 30 minutes on the phone or however long it takes to find out what happened today. And I'm going to go out with you on Thursday, and I'm going to meet with you every Monday, and we're going to talk about your goals. Your word is everything. If you don't follow through with exactly what you are telling your agents you're going to do, you will not have your agents' respect. However, if you follow through with everything you say you're going to do, and you do speak to them when you say you're going to speak to them, and you're there for their meetings, and you review their goals with them, they're going to feel like they owe you something. Therefore, they are going to be accountable to you too. And that will develop a fantastic relationship. Rudy Giuliani. I'm assuming most people know who Rudy Giuliani is. He was the mayor of New York City during September 11th. Rudy Giuliani, I'm not a book reader. I didn't read books when I was in school, never mind reading them after school. No, for real. That's why I spent 6 years in college. But no, really. But one book I did read is a book called Leadership by Rudy Giuliani. It's a fantastic book. And he basically talks about how he ran the city on one of the most difficult days ever. And he speaks about how he ran the city on a regular basis. And he had a system, he called it TEAMS. It stands for Totally Effective Accountability Management System. And what he did is he had a meeting every single morning at 8:15. His meeting was done by 8:45 every day. The meeting consisted of all of the department heads within the city. So you'd have the Department of Sanitation there, you'd have a Department of Education head, whatever it might be, was all the various department heads. And they only had a couple of minutes to give a report, to bring issues up, to bring resolutions up. And as a group, within a couple of minutes, they came up with, this is what needs to be done by tomorrow, and we will discuss it again tomorrow. And he said the reason this worked is because every department head felt accountable to their peers. So even though an agent, you may feel some authority, if you will, on any agents that you have, if you're considering them your peers, you're going to feel accountable to them, just the same way all department heads of all of New York City felt accountable to their own peers. So, golden nugget number 3 is, don't let them run around like chickens with their heads cut off. Make sure you are there. Make sure you follow through with everything that you promised. And you will be accountable as well as they will be. Next.
So let's just recap. Number 1, you got to find out what makes them go, but hold the mayo. You got to find out what makes this person tick in order for them to be able to be held accountable to any expectations that you have of them. Number 2, to consummate the goal, whatever the goal may be, it must be planned for. And number 3, you cannot let them run around like chickens with their heads cut off. We've found that agents that we've been, that managers that have been most successful with us have done so because they recognize that on a day-to-day basis, I gotta hold this person accountable, but I can't just speak to one portion of them. You see, each of us it's pretty clear, each of us have 3 kind of things in common. The first is our destiny. We're going to call them the 3 Ds. The first is our destiny. It's a direction that each of us wants to go, a future. We all have a desire to go somewhere in life, right? We all have a desire, a perspective that we want to reach, and ends we want to meet. So when we're speaking with our agents, it's important that we remember on a day-to-day basis, look, I know you want to get here, and I'm going to put that in front of you on a day-to-day basis. This is the end, just like I have an end. It's not the focus, it's not the only thing we talk about, right? Because if all we focused on was the end, then we'd be wasting a lot of time. You know, what's the point of eating a bowl of chocolate ice cream? To end it? To finish it? Or to savor each bite that we're eating with it, right? Dan, we could switch that to McDonald's if you like, you know. But the point is, the end is not the point of eating a bowl of chocolate ice cream. It's every bite that we kind of savor along the way. But we still need to talk about the end. The second would be the dignity that each of us share. We each share a dignity. We actually all have something good about us. Believe it or not, your agents, some of them, I know the ones you're thinking about right now, they actually have something good about them. And I know sometimes with me it's pretty difficult to find the good in some of our agents, but they do have something. They did something right. It might be hard to discover, but they did do something right. So when we speak to them, we need to encourage them. We need to be able to encourage them on a day-to-day basis about the things that they did that were good. And finally, defects, which we all have, and we know that some of our agents have too many of them, right? The defects, the things that maybe they fell short with, those things that maybe they didn't hit the mark that we need to work on. So it's important as we go through our day-to-days with our guys that we focus on them, and it happens in the role-playing, right? When we videotape them, when we sit them, put them on the video and say, hey, I want you to see what you're doing, because you're not listening to me. So I'm going to let you see what you're doing. Put it in front of them. Remind them of what their end goal is. Remind them of what their destiny, right, is. Remind them of what they did well, the dignity that they provided to us. Remind them of their defects. But don't just do one of the three. Do them all. We've seen managers just destroy agents because all they did was talk about the defects. And quite frankly, we as seasoned salespeople, we've all been in the field. We've practiced this on a day-to-day basis, right? We've asked questions that would absolutely create the ends we were looking for. For example, in the field, right? Jamie spoke about the need and creating the need. For me personally, 2 questions. I always make sure I'm training an agent that they need to know. Absolutely must answer these questions. The first is, Mrs. Jones, have you had the unfortunate experience of having a loved one placed in the ground? And being there to be responsible for that, right? That's nothing new to anybody here, but that's the number one question we want to make sure our agents know. The second, Mrs. Jones, in the unfortunate experience of your passing, who's the person who's going to be responsible for making arrangements? Those are 2 questions that we're always training our agents. Why? Because we know we're going to force them to bring up the need. The need will be strong. It will be rounded. So we want to make sure our agents know that. That's not new to us. We do that as salespeople, so why not have our agents do that? In recruiting, we go and we hire people, right? First thing we do, we want to make sure we're asking the right questions of these people. We want to make sure that we can close them properly to make sure that if they're going to come with us, and we want them to come with us, we're asking the right questions. So we ask questions like, what kind of positions have you had in the past? How'd that work out for you? What kind of position are you looking for? Right? We ask specific questions that we know are going to create a specific ends. If that's the case with our sales process, if that's the case with our recruiting process, I guess I want to make a challenge as to why don't we have specific questions that we foundationally use on a day-to-day basis that we can go back to every single day we're talking to our agents? I think we need to craft a list. I think we need a list of, these are all the questions that I know I can go back to no matter what. I don't care if this agent had an $8,000 day or for the last 8 days had 0 days. I don't care. I'm going to ask the same questions. For me, my number one question, every time I'm on the phone with an agent, every single time, first question to him after he tells me is not, what are your numbers, right? Because that's obviously going to take us down a different path, right? But when he or she starts going through the day, I'm going to say, so Joe, why did Mrs. Jones send the card in? Why did Mrs. Jones send the card in? I don't care if it was a sale or not. That's going to get me down a path that helps them know all I care about is that they fill a need. All I care about is, did you go into that house and fill the need as to why Mrs. Jones sent that card back in? Everything else is secondary. When they start going off the garbage about, oh, no, bank accounts and all this other stuff. Oh, and this person, no. Why did Mrs. Jones send the card in? Did you do what you were supposed to do? Did you fill the need that you said you were going to do when you took that card? So I'm going to ask you, put it into your court. Can we create a list together? Because I believe that this is something that would be truly effective for all of us. What is a foundation? What is your best question that you ask your agent on a day-to-day basis? Mine, I just told you. What's yours? What's your number one question? I'm sorry?
I asked about their activity.
Activity.
Inevitably is going to drive the sales.
Okay.
Not anything else. So I want to know how many places you went to, where you went, how many phone calls you made, what was your activity? I don't care what your numbers were. Don't tell me about your sales. I want to know about it. What was your activity? What did that, make for you in the future?
So did you work today?
Yeah. What did you set up for the future? I don't care if you close it today or not.
Right.
But what activity? And so I would consistently ask my agents about their activity with the understanding that the continual activity will drive continual sales.
And that's going to help to know that they're expecting you to ask that, right? At the end of the day, when they pick up the phone with you, Steve's like, oh no, he's going to ask me, and I spent 4 hours going to pick up my son from practice today. Oh, I can't believe I got to answer this question now, right? So when we ask these questions regularly, they know that they're going to have to answer it, so they better be prepared to give the right answer. What's another question that we can yes, sir. Where's your head at? Okay? So, and if they know it, they'll be prepared for it when the call's coming, right? What else? What's another question? Let's try to put...
On Steve's, I always ask, beyond the activities, what's been your challenges this week?
Okay. So what's been your challenge this week?
So has it been a rebuttal? Has it been what? What has been the biggest issue that you ran into that's caused you to walk out of a home without an application?
Excellent.
They usually can pinpoint it pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely. They know exactly what... Oh, it was bank accounts. It was bank accounts.
One of two things, one of three things.
Yeah.
How many appointments did you have? And if you didn't have any appointments, how many door knocks did you make?
You know, it's important. I actually skipped this, but that's something that we've been using. This little worksheet we give out to our agents, and this is some old ones that we use. But essentially, what it does is they say to us in the beginning of the week, we sit down with them, how many appointments are you making this week? I'm going to make 40 appointments this week. Great. They put 40 here. Then during the week, I know that 40 appointments is what they want to make. I'm going to make sure that I ask them, how many appointments did you do? How many appointments are you at? You got 22 on Monday night? Great. You're halfway there. Let's keep going. Tell me how many referrals you're going to have this week. You're going to have 8 referrals this week? Great. How many did you get so far? 6? Okay, we're on track. You know, applications. You said you're going to have 12 applications this week. Where are you at? You got 11? Excellent. Good job, Joe. Like we're gonna be able to hold them against it. There's not one for everybody, but feel free to pass them around and share them. Like I said, these are some old ways to keep them accountable to those numbers that they said they're going to hit. What's a couple more questions that we could kind of craft to be able to make ourselves better managers in terms of being able to keep them accountable? Yes, sir.
In addition to what Steve said, I always ask them about what time. I want to be specific. So what time did you start the appointments? What did you specific? When your last appointment, and I make them go through details because they'll say, oh, around 9, no other 9, was 10. And I get really detailed as to what they were doing because I can usually figure out why it's not working. Somewhere along that day, they did take that 4-hour break, or they didn't start till 2. Activity's great, but some folks think that activity's good when they start at 2. Why didn't you start at 9?
And that's one thing with this that's worked for us in the past is when they write down all the leads that they're taking, we could sit there and say to them, hey, what happened with lead number 3? Yeah. How many times did you call on that lead? How many times did you door knock that person? So it's helpful to be able to have something that we can kind of reference. What are some? Let's go with 3 more. We can find 3 more questions that we could make ourselves better at keeping. Yes, sir.
How do you think you should have closed?
How do you think you should have closed it? So what would have been a better approach?
We're going to close every deal. Whether we close it in-house or outside on reflection. But we're going to close it all.
Okay. So sale made in every house, right? What's 2 more questions? Got to have them.
What's your plan moving forward? How many you all set for tomorrow?
How are you setting up for tomorrow right now? Yeah, okay, excellent. Excellent.
The question I ask is when somebody doesn't close a deal, I said, well, how much premium was that? And then, for whatever reason they didn't close the deal, I thought they probably could have closed. I said, well, that lesson cost you X in premium. So next time they can reference the fact that when they're in that situation, they don't do the same thing because it cost them how much they didn't get from that deal.
They lost so much from that bad decision there. Okay, excellent. Any other questions that we would add to this list?
I mean, going off of what Javier says, every Monday when I meet with my agents, we sit there and I say, I want to know every objection you guys had this week. Tell me. Let's go through every single objection where you didn't close the sale. And they know to come to the meeting with them. Because we're going to go through it, we're going to answer it collectively. They're not going to say, this is what I would have said to this, but what would you guys have done? Because then we're running it off each other. But they know to come to the meeting with the objections. If they sat in the house and they didn't close the sale, write down lines. Because the other thing that we're able to do there is pinpoint, maybe it's a part in their presentation where they're not establishing enough need. If I get too many I need to think about it, that means you're not talking about the daughter Susie enough.
It's earlier on, not.
Yeah, you're not even finding out, the beneficiary name and using that name 15 times in the presentation. But you can pinpoint what the problem is if you know what the objection is.
Okay, excellent. So it's helping. That's one thing that we do. We have a manager meeting on Thursday mornings, and on that manager meeting, our managers are saying, hey, listen, I got this objection. I've heard this from my agents like 12 times this week already. They're really struggling with X. So let's focus that on Monday's meeting. Let's address that as the main topic for Monday's meeting. And it helps when we're talking to our people on a regular basis, not by text. Text doesn't work. Text, yeah, we might get numbers, but when we become text managers, all we care about are numbers. All we care about is just sitting there getting those numbers in instead of being concerned about what makes them go and putting it in front of them on a day-to-day basis and letting them know that we actually care about this person. And it's not just about your numbers. So when we get in a conversation with them, when we have questions that are prepared that we can always fall back upon, no matter what, no matter how angry this person is, no matter how upset they are, no matter how high they are, if we know we can come back to Mr. Jones, Joe, tell me why Mr. Jones sent that card back in, or something like that. It helps ground you. It gives you a moment to think and prepare your thoughts, because you always have that same primary question you're always going back to. And it also brings him back to basics. So I just want to share with you one last video as we in this section in this nugget, because I believe it will help us to remember as managers, this is our job. It's not about just texting back and forth to get a number. It's about really trying to be there for our agents and to kind of give them the push that they need. It's our job to make sure that we give them the push that they need to, and doing it by text isn't the answer. So nugget number 4 that we want to share with you, golden nugget number 4 is stop horsing around with the wrong questions. Oh, sorry.
So he went over those triple Ds, and he said sometimes we're only doing 2 of the Ds, and I wanted to make golden nugget number 4, stop horsing around with double Ds, but he wouldn't let me. I told you I could say it without anybody getting offended. Okay, our last nugget. So we've gone through all these different accountability techniques, if you will, in a very abbreviated fashion. But you might be sitting there thinking, but you just can't hold everybody accountable. You do have people that that kind of don't want to be held accountable. So we're going to do a little exercise. How about that? Another exercise. I need 8 people to come up here. It doesn't matter who it is. Benji, don't jump quick. 8 people, come on up. I need 4 of you to stand on this side of this, and I need 4 of you to stand on this side of this.
Face to face.
Face to face. We could do another, all right, perfect. Okay. You guys have 15 seconds to convince the person opposite from you without force to cross the line. Let me repeat it. You have 15 seconds. Whatever. You have 15 seconds to convince the person opposite of you to cross the line. Go. Five seconds. Okay, stop. What happened?
We're both trying to do the same thing.
He didn't believe me.
He's right. His wallet was empty, in other words. Okay. All right. So check this out. Excuse me, guys. What were the directions? You have 15 seconds to convince the person opposite you to cross the line, right? Ready? Go. How you doing? Did we cross the line? Yeah. All right, everybody sit down. The purpose is that sometimes we don't have to let egos get in the way. Sometimes we can figure it out where it's a win-win situation for everyone. That was easy. That was easy. I crossed the line, he crossed the line. Now, you're gonna have people that just are gonna go like this when you try to hold them accountable. I've been in the business for 30 years. You can't teach me a damn thing. Just give me the leads. Just give me the supplies. Oh, these leads suck. That's why I haven't closed anything. Oh, so I wasn't the only one who has heard that before? I thought I was telling you something new. Believe it or not, you can actually make it a win-win by holding someone accountable without them knowing that you're holding them accountable. We had about a year ago, we started a little agency out in Arizona, out in Phoenix, Arizona. And when we went out there, we decided that we just had a really cold winter in New Jersey and said we need to go someplace else. Actually, part of that's the truth. We decided we were going to have 2 programs out in Arizona. We were going to have a lead program. We're going to supply you with your leads. Obviously, you're going to be at a lower contract when we supply you with your leads. And when we supply you with these leads, we're going to speak to you on a daily basis about how it's going. One of us is going to fly out there every week and do a little sales meeting on Monday. We're going to put you through some training. That's the real program. And then we had the broker program where can't teach anything to this person. They want the higher contract. Nah, I don't need your leads. Just give me the contract. I know exactly what I'm doing. That's the broker program. So what we did is when we went out there and we did our training school, we decided to invite everyone to this training school, all of the brokers. And we told them, now you got to come to this because you got to learn how to sell the product. And then from there, that's when you're going to get your higher contract and you're going to go. And most of the brokers said, who are these ginzos from New Jersey trying to make an override on me? That's all they are. They don't know what they're doing. And we went out there and we showed them that we had genuine field experience and we knew what we were doing. They started to develop a little bit of a trust for us. And they started to see that, okay, maybe this is a little bit more than I thought it was. And the very first day in the school, we had everybody practice the phone script, including the brokers. And we had them practice with a lead in their hand. And they all said, Then they continued to go through the training school and they continued to pick up some experience. And then by the last day, we kind of said we had a little dinner on the last day. And at dinner, we kind of made it a point to speak to some of these brokers and say, you know, I think you'd probably do pretty good if you had some leads. What is it that you're thinking of doing on going after people? Well, I'm not quite sure how it is I'm going to approach it. I really do like the product, and I really do like what it is that you guys are doing, but I'm not quite sure. You know, I'll tell you what. Why don't I give you some leads? Why don't I give you some leads to get you out there and get you going, and try to get some money in your pocket. You can get your feet wet, you know, and see where it goes from there. And they say, really? That'll be great. Say, yeah. Now, the only thing is, if I'm going to give you leads, obviously, it has to be a bit of a lower contract because we're giving you leads. Obviously, they're expensive. No, I understand that. And obviously, if I'm giving you leads, I got to kind of find out what's happening with the leads. So, you know what? Let's talk on a fairly regular basis. We'll just kind of talk about the leads, and I'll help you get your feet wet out there. Oh, really? That'll be great. And then you know what? If you do okay with those, we're flying in and out of here. Why don't I sit down with you on a Monday? I'll give you some more leads. So we gave them leads. We lowered their contract. They called us on a regular basis, and we had sales meeting with them. That's some broker, huh? True story. Absolute true story. You can hold people accountable just by trying to figure out how to bridge the gap, by trying to figure out how to make it a win-win situation. So, our fifth golden nugget, I'm assuming everybody knows who our great governor of New Jersey is. Our fifth golden nugget is take it from the Jersey boys. You can always find a way to bridge the gap. And I think with that,
Finally, look, at the end of the day, we know that these are the 5 nuggets that we wanted to share with you. And we also know that with our guys, we speak constantly about the formula for success, right? And we wanted to kind of adapt that here today. We want to call this the accountability action plan. First, you got to know your plan. You must know the outcome you're looking to attain. I think here it involves, I want to make sure that my agents are accountable to me. Second, we have to know why we must achieve it. Not just it'd be nice to do that, but because if I do, then I won't be burning through agents like crazy just in getting them a bunch of leads, getting all these different relationships, and then having them walk out the door because they never made it work. The third, you have to take massive action. Not just something like, oh, it'd be nice to just make this work today, but massive. Like, okay, if I'm going to do this, then I'm going to set up every single one of my agents to sit there and talk with me at every, quite frankly, if you have one agent, I believe every appointment, at least in the first 2 to 6 weeks. After every appointment, they need to be calling you. How'd it go? Doesn't have to be a long conversation, but he can give you answers, or she can give you answers right away. Take massive action. Not, okay, I'm just going to expect my agents to call into me from now on. That's not massive action. Massive action says, I'm going to do something big in order to make this work. And finally, number 4, change it until it works. Just keep changing it until it works. So that's what we tell our agents all the time, that's the path to make this thing happen. So let's use it right now. You know, I was reading my Bible a couple weeks ago, and I came across this line that I've been using like crazy lately. I love it. Habakkuk 2:2. And the Lord said, write down the vision so that he who sees it may run it. Who sees it may run. So if you write it down, you can take it and start making it happen. And I'm going to encourage each of us right now to take about a minute. What's your massive action plan to get your agents accountable? What's one thing right now that you can make a decision? That you can make a decision right now. I'm going to make my agents accountable by doing this. We're going to put on a little music. Wrong one. So, there you go. So, if we could just take a minute. What are you going to do right now to help your agents become accountable to you? Take massive action, not something simple. I'll just get 3 real fast. Just 3 and I won't process them too much. All right, let's get 3 people real fast. 3 people that we could choose that will be willing to say, this is what my massive action plan is. 3 people.
Hold yourself to the same standard you hold them.
Okay, so expect of yourself the same as what you're expecting of others. Okay? 2 more. Yes, sir.
We're going to implement a weekly activity sheet.
Okay?
Man.
So the weekly activity sheet in terms of the questions and then putting it in front of them on a day-to-day basis, on a weekly basis. Absolutely, it's awesome, awesome experience. Being able to say to them, hey, listen, this is how close you were to doing it. Go out there and write 8,000 this week and you'll close the gap. Last one, number 3. Yes, sir, Mark.
I said, I'm going to inspect what I expect and communicate with my agents daily.
Okay, excellent. We're really thankful for having the opportunity to share with you today and kind of share some little nuggets of information that we've learned in working with our managers and working with our agents. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. But if not, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Have a great day. Thank you.